Welcome to Seeka. It's great to have you on board. This video will help ensure that you are familiar with and understand Seeka's site hazards, risks, safety rules and procedures. The site is broken down into 4 key areas. They are the yard, where the fruit arrives from the orchard; the pack house, fruit handling area, where the fruit is sorted, graded and packed; the cool store, where the fruit is stored in coolers; and finally, the loadout canopy, where the fruit is loaded onto trucks and sent to both local and overseas markets. Although you will all work in different areas of the site, each of you play an important role at Seeka. Remember, we are all responsible for safety. It is important that you take responsibility for your own health and safety, your work area and your workmates. Let's all work together to make sure you do get home safely to your family every day. Safety always. Food safety. Seeka is required to produce and supply fruit that meets New Zealand food safety regulations. These regulations are important. Simply, the fruit needs to be germ-free, so people who eat our fruit don't get sick. Therefore, you need to play your part by following Seeka's food safety rules. Hands and hand washing. Hand washing is critical in helping to prevent the contamination of the fruit that we touch. Inside the pack house, we have dedicated hand washing facilities. You must wash your hands before entering the fruit handling area, before and after eating, after using the toilet, and after handling foods such as raw food, nuts, fish or eggs. Correct hand washing technique. It is important that you thoroughly wash your hands, as a quick rinse will not get rid of all the germs. You must follow these 5 steps. Run hands under water, apply soap, rub hands together including back of hand, between fingers and under nails, rinse, dry thoroughly with a paper towel. Personal hygiene and dress code standards. Personal hygiene. Not only is personal hygiene essential to maintaining our food safety standards, it is also important for your workmates. You must come to work with clean and tidy clothing. Long hair must be tied back. No aftershave or perfume, as it can affect the fruit quality. If you work in the pack house, you will be provided with a green apron that must be worn. Do not wear your apron or other personal protective equipment, PPE, outside the fruit handling areas. Footwear. Wear enclosed shoes that covers your foot completely. Shoes should have good grip and they should be comfortable, as you are standing for most of the day. Hair nets and beard covers, or snoods, must be worn when in the fruit handling areas. To avoid any loose clothing becoming caught up in machinery, all loose clothing, such as apron ties and scarves, must be tucked in. Jewellery. A plain wedding band only. All other types of jewellery is not allowed. Cuts, grazes and wounds. Any open cuts, grazes and wounds must be covered with a blue plaster. The plasters are issued by your supervisor or employment officer. If your hand has been cut, then a glove must also be worn. Food, including candy and chewing gum, is not allowed in the fruit handling area. Food must be stored in the canteen and eaten in the designated food eating areas and canteens. The pack house can become very hot, therefore it is important that you drink water during the day. Water coolers are in the fruit handling area. Please use the plastic cups provided. Remember to dispose of your cups in the designated rubbish bins.
So for me, health and safety is part of being a close-knit team. Always thinking about other staff around them, making sure they're aware of their environment for safety reasons for other staff as well, not just themselves on a forklift. Making sure everyone's got the right safety gear, actually making sure they will get home early or having at least enough time off so they don't burn out.
Hazard and risk management. The site and your work environment changes frequently. Always assess your work area before you start work and throughout the day. Don't take anything for granted, as things can change in an instant. Remember, we are all responsible for safety. It is important that you know what a hazard or risk is, so then you can take the correct action to making your area or task that you are doing safe. A hazard is a situation or thing that has the potential to cause harm to a person. For example, a pallet trolley in the way. A risk is the consequence of the harm. For example, the consequence of a person tripping over the pallet trolley in the way is a person breaking their foot as a result of their foot hitting the pallet trolley. The following are common hazards and risks at the site that you need to be aware of. Stairs and steps. Regardless of the type of stairs and steps used in your work area, falls can happen. Therefore, make sure stairs and steps are clear and free of trip hazards. Slow down. Look. Use handrails provided, and check for any overhead objects. At Seeka, we have a number of ladder types and steep steps. Always climb down backward. Moving machinery. Machinery, such as the graders and the bin tip, have multiple moving parts. These moving parts often contain chains, belts and rollers, all of which can cause serious injury. To manage this risk, Seeka has implemented several safe working procedures. These include guarding. Guarding has been placed on known risk areas and must not be removed unless you are authorised. Signage. Signage has been placed in the known areas of risk. They simply remind you of potential nip and entanglement areas that may be present. Safe work procedures. Never sweep fruit with hands or reach into areas where there are moving parts. Manual tasks, repetitive work. A number of the tasks around the site involve manual tasks. These include grading and inspecting fruit, pushing and pulling trolleys, lifting, carrying and stacking boxes. To prevent injuries such as strains and muscle fatigue, it is important that you make sure your workstation is set up correctly, such as fatigue matting. Don't lift too many boxes at a time. Always follow Seeka's box lifting limits. If lifting above your head, always use the safety rated stools. Stretch frequently and report pain and discomfort early. Speak up. Pallet trolley. If used unsafely, both electric and manual pallet trolleys can cause significant foot injuries. Only use a pallet trolley if you are trained to use it. There are lots of trolleys in the pack house, so please be aware of them. Do not ride on a pallet trolley, ever. Safety always. Pedestrians moving safely. The site is busy, with lots of people, trucks and forklifts constantly moving. For your safety, it is important to ensure that you always remember forks before feet. Pedestrians give way to forklifts, always. Lock on. Lock eyes with forklift drivers. Listen for the beep. A beep or warning sound from a forklift requires your full attention. It means you could be in danger. Be aware of blue lights which are visible when forklifts are moving backwards. Walkways and crossings. Stay to pedestrian walkways and crossings. In the event of an emergency, stopping the machine. In the event of an emergency and you need to stop a machine at once, it is generally done by pulling a red emergency cord or pushing a red emergency stop button. Before you start work, check where they are. Always be familiar with where your emergency stop is. If you don't know, speak up.
To me, health and safety is about being aware of your environment, what you are doing and what your teammates are doing. We work in a busy place and we all need to look out for each other. I want to get home safe from work to allow me to do what I want in my spare time. I love spending time with my family, especially my grandkids. One of my favourite things to do, or one of our favourite things to do, is go to the park. I'm very safe at work, and also that transfers into your home life because it's just a natural part of what you do every day, making sure you get home safely every night.
Cleaning machinery or clearing of debris. Cleaning of machinery. Only after an isolation is in place can the end of shift cleaning commence. Always follow Seeka's isolation procedure. This includes the removal of any guards, clearing of debris. Remember, Seeka has strict safety rules around clearing of debris from moving machinery. Never crawl or climb under any grading machine or table while the machine is running. If you need to clear an area, only use a long-handled scoop or broom. Safety always. Housekeeping. At all times, your work area must be kept tidy. This will reduce the potential for slips and trips. It is very easy to slip or trip on items such as dropped fruit, pallets stored in walkways, or label tape on the ground. Always leave your workplace clean and tidy. This includes at breaks and at the end of the day. Restricted area safety specifics. The bin tip, cool store, yard and canopy are all restricted areas because they are dangerous places. Unless you work in those areas, you are not allowed to be there under any circumstance. All authorised areas are clearly marked. Please follow the safety rules and procedures in these restricted areas. Bin tip area. Every bin tip is likely to have variations to its design. Regardless of its design, all bin tips have extensive guarding in place to keep you safe. During operation, never remove any of this guarding. Various isolation gates have been installed. Only authorised people can operate these gates, and trained personnel must follow the isolation procedure for extensive cleaning or breakdown. Cool store area. There are multiple risks associated with this area. They include cold. If working for long periods of time, dress appropriately. For example, thermal high-vis jackets and pants. Forklifts. Always be aware that forklifts are moving in and out many times a day. Restricted vision. The plastic flaps at the entrance of each cool store can become cloudy, restricting visibility of what is coming in and out. Cool store floors may be wet, slippery and icy. Be aware of potential low oxygen or carbon dioxide levels prior to entry. Be aware that only authorised personnel may enter on foot. Examples of permitted personnel can include laboratory staff and quality auditors. Remember, before entering, you must advise the appropriate personnel and be authorised to enter. Use man doors where available. If not, enter close to the cool store entrance. Be observant and diligent of the presence of forklifts. Forks before feet. Yard and canopy exclusion zone. Forklifts and people don't mix, so to reduce the risk of serious injury where practicable, Seeka has a 3-metre exclusion zone that applies to all truck loading and unloading tasks. Both the forklift driver and the truck driver play a key role in ensuring that this rule is followed at all times. It may save your life. What does the 3-metre rule look like? Truck driver must be visible at all times and wearing a high-vis vest and safety boots. Forklift driver must stop. If the truck driver breaches the 3-metre exclusion zone, the forklift driver will not move until the 3-metre exclusion zone is clear. At times, the truck driver may be required to move into the 3-metre zone. In these circumstances, the forklift driver must stop until these operations are completed or they have communicated a plan between them. Only when the truck driver is outside the exclusion zone can the forklift driver start loading again. No exceptions. PPE. In the restricted areas, the minimum PPE is high-vis clothing. Forklift drivers and key personnel must wear safety boots that comply with Australian and New Zealand safety standards. Safety always. When working at Seeka, we all have a responsibility to make sure we are working as safely as possible. Be aware of the site's hazards and risks, and if you are ever unsure, please ask. Speak up. You need to make sure of your own personal safety as well as that of others. Remember, safety always.